Thank you for watching this video. Every like you give is a huge motivation for me to keep creating new videos every day. Close your eyes and travel back 12,000 years. The last ice age has just released its grip, revealing fresh land that gleams under a newborn sun. You stand in a world both familiar and strange, forests awakening in green fire, rivers and lakes overflowing, massive herds rumbling across grasslands no human has ever touched. The frozen planet is gone. Earth itself feels reborn, and so is your species. You, Homo sapiens, were born to move. Your ancestors followed the seasons, hunting and gathering, never staying in one place for long. But now nature sends an unexpected signal. Around your temporary camp, wild grains sprout in dense clusters. They ripen faster, making food easier to find. At night, as the campfire warms the chill, a new question pounds in your chest: leave or stay? Day after day, the sky changes. Endless rains soften the ground. Sudden floods scatter the great migrating herds. Your band is forced to remain while the weather calms. For the first time, the shelters you built aren't just places to sleep. They begin to feel like home. And in that quiet, a strange desire stirs to keep this place. Until now, ownership meant nothing. Rivers belonged to everyone, animals to whoever could catch them. But when you look at the grain drying on a flat rock, a thought flickers. This is ours. That fragile idea is the seed of civilization. Wandering deeper into the forest, you notice great stones arranged in circles. Who set them there? They seem like signs from hidden powers. Beautiful and unsettling. Beneath each stone roof a family waits for their first harvest. No one here chases herds anymore. They have chosen the ground itself, land that only yesterday belonged to no one, as their permanent base. You sense an invisible current pulling all humankind away from the old, roaming life. But safety is never free. Staying put means storing food, grain, dried meat, water, and storage demands defense. When night falls and wolves howl from the ridge, another fear awakens. Fear of other people who might come to steal what you saved. From hunting animals, you now must guard against humans. In this first village, stories of life and death unfold quickly. A child is born during a long storm, but its mother grows weak. As supplies run low, the father secretly takes grain from a neighbor. They call it theft, a word that never existed in the nomad world. In that instant, the first unwritten law comes into being. From small disputes, a quiet social order begins to form. Who will watch the fields? Who decides how food is shared? Who settles conflicts? New roles appear: leader, seed keeper, hunter. Division of labor, the backbone of every later village, arises from what seemed a simple decision: to stay. Yet settlement isn't all shadows. For the first time you hear children's laughter echo through all 4 seasons. For the first time your ancestors have time to watch the sky, to test seeds, to discover the rules of planting. Under hands once used only for pursuit, early agriculture takes root, slowly, but irreversibly. All around you, houses of clay and stone grow larger. Each block is a quiet declaration: humankind will never be the same. The choice to settle has reshaped the human brain and heart. This is not just a change of address, it is a change of destiny. As dawn burns across wild grain fields, you realize that here, between fear and hope, human civilization is born. From now on, the great adventure of your species is no longer only about chasing and surviving. It has entered a new chapter: building, owning, and dreaming for generations to come. You still stand at the dawn of humankind, where the choice to stay has become destiny. After the first season of waiting out the floods, the wild grains you and your clan scattered into the damp soil push up strong green shoots. Those golden stalks do more than chase away hunger. They awaken a new dream. If you can understand these plants, your people will no longer have to gamble with the moods of nature. 1. Agriculture awakens. You watch each seed sprout and notice patterns: moist earth, gentle sun, rains that come and go in rhythm. What began as memory shared by firelight turns into the first body of farming knowledge. Hunting companions become livestock. Dogs that once followed your trail hunts now guard the newborn lambs. Goats and sheep, once wild and wary, turn into steady sources of milk and meat. When you hear their soft bleats behind stone pens, you realize humans have created a living food reserve. From these early harvests comes something entirely new: surplus food. For the first time there is more to eat than the clan requires day to day. You and your neighbors begin to store grain for tomorrow. In clay jars drying beneath the sun, wealth silently grows. 2. The family as a new social cell. With agriculture, the nuclear family takes shape. Children no longer travel hundreds of miles. Elders, once forced to march until their strength failed, can spend their final years close to the hearth. You watch children chase one another between ripening fields and hear laughter echo through all 4 seasons, a sound unknown to nomadic life. But with joy comes new responsibility. Who tends the crop when the rains arrive? Who guards the grain through the long winter? Each household becomes a self-managing unit, both independent and bound to the village. 3. Division of labor and new roles. Farming demands specialization. Some people select seeds, others shape clay jars, some build houses, others watch the herds. You see the settlement operate like a living body, each person a vital organ. Slowly, a social order emerges. Elders or chosen heads settle disputes. distribute grain, and organize flood defenses. The first rules, dividing water, assigning fields, punishing theft, are spoken aloud yet carry the weight of carved stone. 4. Trade routes begin to unfold. Food surpluses do more than feed the village, they open the way to trade. You join groups carrying salt, animal hides, and seed grain to distant communities. For the first time, trading paths stretch across rivers and plains. Every meeting is a civilizational exchange, rare seeds, sharper tools, and stories of foreign rituals and gods. Exotic items, shells from the sea, flint from faraway mountains, become symbols of wealth. With every journey, knowledge travels farther, and the world feels suddenly larger. 5. The rise of power. As supplies pile up, power quietly grows. Those who control the grain or the fields gain influence. In council gatherings, a few people begin to command rather than merely advise. You witness the birth of the chief. At first he defends the harvest and directs irrigation, but soon he claims the right to distribute grain, to lead warriors, even to decide when to wage war. Political authority is born on the earthen banks and inside the clay storehouses of these early villages. 6. Faith and the great stories. Alongside power comes religion. When crops flourish, people thank the rain spirit. When drought strikes, they plead with the thunder god. Ritual fires, stone circles, and carved idols appear everywhere, binding communities together and sanctifying the chief's rule. You watch the first mud brick temples rise, places where grain is offered to unseen deities. Village leaders present themselves as mediators between humans and the invisible world. Belief steadies anxious hearts but also makes the leaders' decisions feel like divine will. 7. Conflict and expansion. As settlements multiply, disputes over land and irrigation water flare. Longer canals and higher dikes require alliances of villages. Out of necessity, tribal federations form, laying the groundwork for future city-states. Trade expeditions reveal fertile valleys and rich hunting grounds far away, awakening ambition to conquer. Wherever rivers flow and soil is deep, rivalry ignites, to defend or to claim such lands. Chiefs organize the first armed bands, a concept unknown in the nomadic world. 8. Splendor and shadows. Farming, trade, and faith lift Homo sapiens to a new height, but they also cast new shadows. Power unites the people yet feeds ambition. Belief strengthens courage but gives rulers divine cover for domination. Commerce brings wealth but also triggers war over roots and resources. As dusk paints the sky in burning red, drums call the village to another night of ritual and planning. You sense both hope and danger pulsing through the fields. Here, among bleating sheep, cooking fires, and council meetings, true civilization takes root, brilliant and fragile at once, awaiting the next great chapters of human history.
Hear us.
The Age of Metal and the First Cities. 1. When fire turned to metal. You stand beside a broad river where golden grain fields stretch to the horizon. Under the copper glow of sunset, earthen furnaces roar like hundreds of captive suns. A deep clang echoes, hammers striking copper ore. It is the opening sound of the Age of Metal. From rocks rich in copper, early smiths coax greenish sparks. At first copper serves only for beads and arrowheads. Then someone discovers that mixing copper with tin creates bronze, harder and sharper than any stone. With that revelation, tools and weapons change forever. You run your hand along a bronze axe and feel the restless heat of fire locked in metal. With such axes, dense forests yield. With bronze swords, defense and attack gain a terrifying new scale. Every hammer blow and every drop of molten copper marks one more step away from the Stone Age. 2. Metalworkers, sorcerers of flame. The smelting furnace becomes the heart of each settlement. Those who command the fire and know how to free metal from stone are treated as sorcerers. The ringing of anvils rolls through the valley like sacred music. Metal tools slice deep furrows into the soil. Bronze plowshares double the harvest. Populations surge, but the same bronze blade that turns fields fertile also sharpens war. Fertile land now becomes not only farmland but prize and target. 3. The first cities rise. You enter a new kind of settlement where high clay ramparts stand like giant sentinels. This is no village, this is the first city. Inside, winding streets bustle with trade, grain from distant valleys, copper from mountain mines, seashells from far coasts, spices from the south. Caravan roads cross deserts and rivers, weaving a network of long-distance exchange. In the city square, a new voice of authority rings out. A council or a single ruler controls not only grain stores but also merchants, soldiers, and rituals. You can feel urban energy everywhere, crowded, multi-ethnic, full of opportunity and intrigue. 4. Writing, humanity's memory in clay. As commerce expands and populations grow, memory alone can no longer keep pace. Who paid taxes? Who still owes grain? Which field belongs to which family? From marks pressed into wet clay, writing is born. You watch wedge-shaped Sumerian signs impressed into tablets and Egyptian hieroglyphs cut into temple walls. Each symbol is a rope tying the present to eternity, preserving speech beyond any lifetime. History itself becomes permanent record. Writing does more than track trade. It stores laws, charts the heavens, preserves medicine and mathematics, and most crucially, cements state power. A spoken decree can fade. One etched in stone is forever. 5. Empires and conquest. As cities grow, kings begin to push their borders outward. You witness armies armed with bronze swords and spears marching across endless plains. This is the dawn of empires. Egyptian pharaohs, Mesopotamian kings, early Indian and Chinese dynasties rise. Each is a vast web of irrigation canals, trade routes, professional soldiers, taxation, and codified law. Humans no longer belong merely to a village or city-state. They become citizens of sprawling realms. War now unfolds on an unprecedented scale. Conflicts are waged not just for a single fertile valley but in campaigns spanning hundreds of miles. With tens of thousands of soldiers, each invasion both devastates and spreads technology and culture. 6. Science and religion interwoven. In palaces and temples, skywatchers chart the stars to predict planting seasons and holy days. Religion and science are inseparable. Both aim to read and master nature.
The cosmos above
You witness grand processions of gods,
below.
chants rising with lunar calculations, and the first formulas of geometry and medicine. The fusion of belief and knowledge lays the groundwork for astronomy, mathematics, and healing arts. 7. The light and shadow of civilization. The panorama is magnificent and unsettling. Metal and cities give humanity unprecedented power, yet also amplify destruction. Writing and law bring order, but bind personal freedom. Faith and science lift the spirit, yet can be turned to oppression. Distant drums of war roll across the night air, reminding you of the fragility of peace. Every achievement, from the plow to the written word, can become a weapon. 8. A gateway to the next age. As dusk settles over mud brick walls glowing in torchlight, you sense how far the human journey has come. From wandering hunters, Homo sapiens have become engineers of earth, able to smelt ore, build cities, inscribe time, and organize empires. But with these triumphs rise boundless ambitions. Ahead lie legendary empires, intercontinental wars, and inventions that will reshape the planet itself. Standing in a torch-lit square under a star-choked sky, you know this truth. Human civilization has truly taken flight. What comes next will not merely redraw maps. It will define the deep future of your kind. Empires, inventions, and legacy. Thank you for traveling through time with me. Every like you give is the strength that helps me keep telling humanity's epic story. You stand on a high hill where fields of golden barley shimmer. Red brick cities stretch outward, and straight roads point to every horizon. After the age of metal and the first city-states, humankind has entered a new era, the age of mighty empires and brilliant inventions. Blank, underscore, blank. 1. Colossal empires that shape the world. From the fertile plains of Mesopotamia to the Nile Valley, from the basin of the Indus to the Yellow River, great empires arise one after another. In the west, Egyptians raised pyramids that pierce the sky. In the east, the Shah, Shang, and Zhou dynasties of China lay the foundations of a civilization that will endure for thousands of years. Looking northwest, you see the Assyrian and Babylonian empires, where chariots of bronze thunder across the Middle East. Farther west, the Greek city-states appear, planting the seeds of philosophy, mathematics, and democracy. Then Rome rises, turning the Mediterranean into its inland sea, building roads that stretch for tens of thousands of miles, carrying soldiers and merchants to every corner of Europe. Along the trading routes that link east and west, the hoofbeats of horses, the rumble of wheels, and the soft bells of caravans blend into the music of an age. This is the forerunner of the Silk Road, the first great commercial network joining Asia and Europe. Blank, underscore, blank. 2. Inventions, quantum leaps of human ingenuity. Walking the stone-paved streets of Babylon, you realize how the wheel has changed everything. More than transport, the wheel powers pulleys, grain mills, and the very idea of machinery. On the Nile, vast canals and aqueducts carry life-giving water to distant fields, feeding millions. In India and China, mathematics and astronomy reach astonishing heights, charting the planets, calculating precise planting calendars, and laying the groundwork for later science. You pause at one of the first mints, where coinage replaces simple barter. Bright, round coins make trade swift and stretch markets across great distances. In the monumental library of Alexandria, hundreds of thousands of scrolls preserve medical knowledge, astronomy, and philosophy, treasures of the human mind. In the East, China invents paper and ink, while India develops the number 0 and the decimal system. Each discovery is like a diamond set in the crown of human intellect, refracting its brilliance through millennia. Blank, underscore, blank. 3. Urban splendor and the seeds of crisis. From Africa to Asia, from Europe to the Americas, cities rise like forests of stone towers. You walk broad avenues, pass through markets alive with spices, gold, silk, and pottery. Yet behind this splendor, shadows deepen. Exploding populations bring sanitation problems, outbreaks of disease, and stark inequality. Many cities sink into pollution, waste flows through their canals, breeding epidemics. You hear of plagues that ravage Rome, of famine and drought that cripple the Maya, and of vast migrations from the north into the Mediterranean. heralding what history will call the Great Migrations. Blank, underscore, blank. 4. Science, philosophy, and faith, where reason meets belief. Even in turbulent times, the light of knowledge burns bright. You hear Socrates question the nature of virtue. Plato sketched the ideal republic, and Aristotle organized logic and science. In the East, Confucius teaches humaneness and order, while Laozi writes the Tao Te Ching on harmony between people and the cosmos. In temples, monasteries, and academies, religion and philosophy converse. Buddhism spreads from India across Asia. Christianity rises in Judea and moves through the Roman world. In Arabia, Islam begins a new era of culture and trade. You feel two great currents running side by side. Reason's drive to explain the universe and faith's quest for the ultimate meaning of life. Blank, underscore, blank. 5. Heights and collapses. Every empire carries the seed of its own decline. After centuries of glory, the Roman Empire weakens under civil wars, famine, and invasions. In the East, great dynasties also follow the cycle of rise and fall. You watch once impregnable walls crack under time and pressure. Yet each collapse is not only tragedy but rebirth, from the ashes. New civilizations rise, carrying forward the lessons and legacies of their ancestors. Blank, underscore, blank. 6. An immortal legacy. Whether flourishing or falling, the empires leave eternal gifts. Written laws, scripts, stone architecture, and the knowledge of medicine, mathematics, and philosophy become the foundation for future eras. You walk among ancient ruins, hear the wind whistling through toppled columns, and realize that within ruin, the light of knowledge still lives. Even when cities fall, their ideas and inventions travel on, nourishing generations to come. Blank, underscore, blank. 7. A gateway to the next age. At sunset, from a high hill overlooking countless ruins and glowing cities, you understand, humanity's journey never stops. From hunting bands to vast empires, from primal fire to celestial science, our species has many times reached great heights and driven itself into crisis. Yet within each crisis, the seeds of renewal germinate. You hear the distant ringing of temple bells, the horns of merchant caravans, and the faint mechanical echoes of machines yet to be born. A new era is drawing near, an age when iron and steel, global trade, and revolutionary ideas will open the door to part 5 of this epic story. Iron, new empires, and the dawn of science.
Over the ocean.
Thank you for staying with me on this journey. Every like you give is a torch that keeps humanity's epic story burning bright. You awaken to the ring of iron hammers. From deep inside a forge, sparks fly like falling stars. This is the Iron Age, around 1200 BCE, when humans learned to smelt iron ore, creating tools and weapons far stronger than bronze. 1. The Iron Age, foundations for new empires. You walk through forests cleared by iron axes. Fields spread wider and faster. Iron swords, spears, and arrowheads turn armies into floods of steel. With iron, powerful empires rise. Assyria with its lightning cavalry, Persia stretching from the Nile to the Indus, Greece forging legendary city-states and epic campaigns, and Rome becoming a superpower whose stone roads and iron legions reach across Europe, North Africa, and Western Asia. Along Rome's paved highways, you hear the clatter of hooves and the calls of merchants from 3 continents. Beside their military strength, these empires leave behind laws, art, and philosophy, cornerstones of the modern world. 2. Into the Middle Ages, darkness and new life. Yet no empire lasts forever. The Roman world weakens, overrun by northern tribes. You witness Europe sliding into a turbulent era known as the Dark Ages. Great cities break apart, trade shrinks, and once busy roads vanish under forests. But new life quietly stirs. In the Middle East, the Arab caliphates rise, carrying Islam and the scientific heritage of Persia and Greece. In the Far East, China's Tang and Song dynasties expand maritime trade and pioneer gunpowder, the compass, and printing. In India, philosophy and mathematics flourish, sending zero and trigonometry across Asia and into the Islamic world. Listen closely and you'll hear the bells of European monasteries, where monks painstakingly copy ancient texts, preserving Roman and Greek wisdom. In silence, they sow the seeds of a future renaissance. 3. The Renaissance, a new dawn of light. By the 14th century, Europe awakens. You walk through Florence and Venice, cities where art and science burst into bloom. The frescoes of Michelangelo, the paintings of Leonardo da Vinci, the architecture of Brunelleschi shine like daybreak after a long night. At the same time, Atlantic ports in Portugal and Spain, and later Holland and England, launched the age of exploration. You sail with fleets across the Atlantic to the Americas and around Africa to the Indian Ocean. The Earth gradually becomes a single, connected map of trade and culture. Meanwhile, Gutenberg's printing press ignites a knowledge revolution. Books are no longer the privilege of church or court. Ideas of freedom, humanism, and the Reformation spread, challenging old powers and reshaping spiritual life. 4. The scientific revolution, opening the modern age. You look up at the night sky and see stars that no longer stand still. Copernicus, Kepler, and Galileo revealed that Earth circles the sun, launching modern astronomy. Newton formulates the law of universal gravitation, uniting the motions of planets and falling apples.
Then Rome,
Below,
with its
anatomists,
iron legions
chemists,
paved
and natural
roads,
philosophers
extended
build the
its
early
reach,
sciences of
leaving
mechanics,
behind laws and
optics,
philosophy
and
that
medicine.
shape us
Experiments
still.
and the scientific method take shape, laying the groundwork for the coming Industrial Revolution. You walk through the first laboratories, hear the hiss of chemical reactions and the ring of Smith's hammers.
From
The air
Baghdad
itself
to
smells of
Beijing,
iron,
the torch of
steam,
learning
and
was
bold new
carried
ideas,
forward,
the scent of an age about to
preserving
ignite.
ancient wisdom and
5.
pioneering
2 currents. Global trade and social reform.
Europe awoke.
As science accelerates,
Vinci's
global
genius,
trade
the
reaches
age of
unprecedented
exploration.
scale.
Suddenly
Goods,
the world
gold,
was a
spices, ideas, and diseases circulate
Gutenberg's
between
press
Europe,
democratized
Asia,
knowledge,
Africa, and the
challenging
Americas.
old dogmas,
These
igniting
encounters create
minds.
multi-continental cities: Lisbon,
The
Seville,
scientific
London,
revolution
Amsterdam,
revealed the
and bustling
universe's
Indian
elegant
Ocean and Southeast
laws.
Asian ports. At
Gravity,
every harbor, you
planetary
sense that the
motion.
world has become one vast network.
As trade wove the
Meanwhile,
world ever
concepts of
tighter,
individual liberty,
so too
human
did the
rights,
seeds of
and
liberty
representative
human
government
rights
begin to take root. Political philosophers sketch the outlines of future democracies.
Empires, science,
6.
trade,
A legacy preparing the
liberty,
Industrial
all
Age.
converge here,
By the late
now.
17th century, the world is utterly transformed from the dawn of the Iron Age. Humanity has
New age
forged iron and steel for building and for war, created global
With iron,
empires linking all
forests were
continents,
tamed, fields
discovered
expanded,
natural laws that
armies
explain the
once
heavens and
men
earth,
became
and
floods of steel.
invented powerful ways to store and share knowledge.
Along Rome's grand
You stand on a
highways,
bustling wharf where
I hear
tall
the
ships are ready to
clatter
cross
of
oceans and know that a new
continents
surge is forming: the Industrial Revolution. When steam
But from
engines,
that darkness,
machines, and
new
industrial
lights
cities will remake every
the
part of
Arab
life.
caliphates rose,
7.
bearing
Toward the next
Islam
chapter.
and ancient
The sun sets over the ocean, painting
By the
tall
14th
masts in
century,
fiery
Europe
gold.
awoke.
You hear the heartbeat of the world
Florence,
quicken, pulsing with the yet unborn rhythms of
City.
machinery. Mists of steam rise from
Then
iron
came
forges,
Gutenberg's
heralding an
press,
age of
igniting
mechanics
a
and
true
urban industry
revolution.
never before imagined.
knowledge no
The
longer
journey from the
sold
Iron
at
Age
once.
through the Middle Ages, the Renaissance,
scientific
and the scientific revolution has trained the human mind and hand,
Kepler,
preparing for the
Galileo
next
showed us
giant
a
leap.
cosmos
And that
where
is the story
Earth-
waiting in part 6, the Machine Age and
So
the
much
Industrial
has
Revolution,
transformed since
where
the dawn of
humanity will
iron.
stride boldly into the
We
modern
forged
world.
metals, built
The Machine
empires,
Age and the
discovered
Industrial
universe.
Revolution. Thank you for journeying on without pause. Every like you give is a flame that keeps humanity's epic story alive. You awaken to the thunder of iron hammers. This is no small forge of the Iron Age. Before you rise vast factories breathing smoke. The heartbeat of an era about to transform the planet. The Industrial Revolution of the 18th century. Blank. Underscore. Blank. 1. The dawn of steam and steel. In Britain you see spinning machines working in endless rhythm. Their iron gears meshing like parts of a cosmic engine. James Watt refines the steam engine, turning boiling water into the force that drives thousands of spindles. From deep coal mines, the rumble of carts echoes like the Earth's own pulse. On the first railways, steam locomotives roar, hauling tons of coal, cotton, and passengers. Speed multiplies, shrinking space and time. You feel the planet contract beneath wheels of steel. From Britain the fire of industry spreads to France, Germany, the United States, and across continents. Colossal steel mills, smoking ports, and sprawling textile plants rise like forests of iron. Blank. Underscore. Blank. 2. Industrial cities and new global empires.
This moment.
You set foot in Manchester,
quiet
London,
disappears.
Paris, New York, cities exploding with life. At night, gaslights turn the sky into an artificial galaxy. In the streets, workers pour from the mills, hearts still beating to the rhythm of spinning frames. Industry demands new resources and markets, pushing European powers to expand colonial empires across Asia, Africa, and Latin America. From great seaports, fleets of sailing ships, and soon steamships, carry goods and political influence to the farthest coasts. You hear the whistles of steamers on the Indian Ocean and see the flags of Britain, France, and the Netherlands planted on distant islands. A truly global economy takes shape. Blank. Underscore. Blank. 3. A storm of science and invention. Alongside industry, science advances like a hurricane. Electricity is harnessed, from Franklin's experiments to Faraday's generators, lighting millions of homes. The internal combustion engine, Benz's automobile, and the Wright brothers' airplane make distance an old idea. You stand in Louis Pasteur's laboratory, smelling antiseptic solutions that launch microbiology and vaccines. Nearby, Dmitry Mendeleev arranges the periodic table, laying the foundation of modern chemistry. Each breakthrough is a bolt of intellectual lightning, illuminating a night that lasted for millennia. Blank. Underscore. Blank. 4. Society in upheaval. Industry creates a working class, people who sell their labor in giant factories. Grueling hours and harsh conditions spark labor movements from Britain to America and beyond. At the same time, a new capitalist class arises, owning machines and factories, directing the flow of wealth. Tension between labor and capital ignites political revolutions, drives constitutions and civil rights, and spreads universal education. You hear bells ringing from the first public schools, signaling a society that declares knowledge a right for every child. Blank, underscore, blank. 5. Light and shadow. Beneath the brilliance of electric lights, new shadows lengthen, coal smoke thickens the air, turning many cities into seas of toxic fog. New diseases, pollution, industrial accidents, and choking slums become the dark side of progress. War, too, wears an industrial face. You witness mass-produced weapons, cannons and rifles of iron and steel with terrifying destructive power. They are harbingers of the great wars to come. Blank, underscore, blank. 6. The gateway to the modern age. Despite its contradictions, the machine age and industrial revolution change humanity's destiny forever. The world now connects through global transportation and trade networks, commands science and technology powerful enough to explore oceans, skies, and the microscopic, and nurtures human rights ideals that seed democracy and new social movements. You stand on a great steel pier as giant steamships prepare to cross the oceans, hearing the combined heartbeat of the planet. Not only goods and people, but ideas and the dream of freedom now circle the globe. Blank, underscore, blank. 7. Toward Part 7. As twilight falls over smoky industrial skylines, you gaze at heavens already lit by millions of electric lamps. In that moment you sense a new rhythm of history, fast, fierce, and worldwide. Yet beneath the urgent beat lie the seeds of total war and technological races. From steam engines to railroads, from electric lights to internal combustion, humanity has prepared for the turbulent 20th century, an age of world wars, electronics, and space exploration that will unfold in Part 7 of this epic, The Age of War and Space. The Age of War and Space. Thank you for staying on this epic journey. Every like, comment, and subscription you give is a powerful force that keeps humanity's story alive. You stand on an early 20th century industrial dock, hearing the deep whistle of steel ships and sensing a new heartbeat of the world, fast, fierce, and restless. From the steam, iron, and electricity of the Industrial Revolution, humankind steps into a completely new epic, the Age of War and Space. 1. Two World Wars. Fire envelops the Earth. The first cannon blast of World War I, 1914 to 1918, strikes like thunder splitting Europe's sky. You witness trenches stretching for thousands of kilometers, where millions live and die amid mud and poison gas. Tanks, airplanes, and machine guns, born of industry, become instruments of mass slaughter. The war ends, but hatred does not. 2 decades later, World War II, 1939 to 1945, erupts with even greater fury. You stand under the bombs of the London Blitz and march with Allied forces at Normandy. Its terrible climax comes when 2 atomic bombs fall on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, ushering in the nuclear age, where the power of the atom holds both limitless energy and the fear of global annihilation. 2. The Cold War, shadows and technological races. Peace proves fragile. You watch the United States and the Soviet Union divide the world, igniting the Cold War. It is an undeclared conflict that touches every corner of life. Nuclear arms races, covert espionage, and the Cuban Missile Crisis that nearly tips humanity into nuclear catastrophe. Yet the tension sparks dazzling technological leaps. Intercontinental missiles, spy satellites, early computers, and worldwide communication networks develop at breathtaking speed. 3. Space exploration. The sky is no longer the limit. From secret rocket labs, you look up as Sputnik 1 soars in 1957, opening the space age. 4 years later, Yuri Gagarin becomes the first human to orbit Earth. The United States answers with the Apollo program, and in 1969 you stand on the moon as Neil Armstrong declares, "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Since then, space stations, orbital telescopes, and robotic missions to Mars and Saturn have continued to expand the frontier. The night sky, once a veil of mystery, becomes a laboratory for science and limitless exploration. 4. A storm of science, computers and the internet. Alongside space travel comes the computer revolution. The giant ENIAC shrinks to personal computers and then to laptops. Transistors and microchips propel humanity from mechanical machines into the electronic age. In the 1970s and 1980s, ARPANET lays the groundwork for the internet. By the end of the century, billions of bits of data race around the planet in a heartbeat, transforming Earth into a single global nervous system. Satellite communications and live broadcasts from across the world become part of everyday life. 5. Social upheaval and the rise of global consciousness. You witness civil rights movements, decolonization, and struggles for equality sweeping across continents. Nations once under colonial rule win independence. The idea of universal human rights emerges as a shared value. Meanwhile, global economic integration accelerates. Goods, capital, technology, and cultures intertwine, making the world tightly interconnected, yet vulnerable to regional conflicts and financial crises. 6. Crossing the threshold of the 21st century. By the late 20th and early 21st centuries, artificial intelligence (AI) begins to appear. Industrial robots work in factories. Supercomputers simulate climate and genetic codes. And high-speed internet and mobile phones draw humanity into a digital realm where distance nearly disappears. But progress brings new risks: cyber warfare, information battles, climate change, and advanced weaponry. Earth enters an era both more connected and more fragile than ever. 7. Legacy of the 20th century. From your vantage point on the International Space Station, gazing down at the blue planet spinning in the dark, you understand that the tempestuous 20th century, from 2 world wars to the birth of the internet, has honed human intellect and resolve for the digital age ahead. Discoveries in nuclear energy, spaceflight, and information technology are not only the offspring of war but also the foundation of humanity's future, enabling deeper exploration of the cosmos and the possibility of a more peaceful global society. You've journeyed with me from the dawn of primitive fire to the rise of early artificial intelligence. From blood-soaked trenches to the infinite expanse of space. Yet the story of humanity is far from over.
A new nervous system.
Leave a like, drop a comment, and hit subscribe right now. Every action you take fuels the creation of Part 8. Where the digital and AI age is waiting to unfold. A world of data, artificial intelligence, and the big questions about our species' future.
A crucible of both devastating conflict and unparalleled discovery.